Right, so download it now. I'm just downloading the S&P 500 as the market return. Next is we'll choose the market company to calculate the beta. S&P. So let's save it first as that value, and let's see. How is your progress with your assignments? Progressing? Progressing? Yeah? I know at least one group is doing very well. I checked someone, like I provided feedback. Nice progress. But I haven't had any kind of contact after that. I mean, apart from them. So there is no, I don't either also know how you're doing, guys. So please, if you have any questions, email me. So let's drop all of this. So next thing is, so this is S&P 500. S&P 500. Next is, now you can pick a company. You can choose a company. Give any company, please. L? MT? Lockheed? It's a defense. This is a big one, isn't it? They are developing all this F-35. Is it this company? Yeah. Every time there is problem with F-35, their stock probably gets hit. Yeah, they're demanding 500 million more to finalize. But a year ago they said we won't ask for any more money, but they're asking Congress to give more money. So it's just the most expensive fighter jet in the world in the end, if it actually becomes a fighter jet. There's only prototype doing rounds now, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's download it. Just did something there, but let's see. Right. Yes, we have adjusted close for this period. Yeah. So I'll just copy this part. Copy. Paste here. Paste. Right. Now I have S&P. I have adjusted close for this guy. What's his name? LMT. Let's sort it upside down by date. Done. Now I need, as usual, beta is a measure of stock returns to the market returns. Yeah, in the sensitivity of individual stock returns to the market returns. So I have to work with returns again. So let's create this thing again. Yeah. It is part of your project.
So we need to find the betas.
You have to calculate the betas for each stock that you have. Yeah, I think I include that in the guideline, didn't I? Did you read the guideline?
Stock, how can you calculate?
Yeah, so you just have S&P 500, yeah?
But you can find it in Yahoo.
You can if you want, yeah.
You don't have to calculate.
It's just the beta for the period that you calculate the returns will be different from the beta that you have on your Yahoo page, because that Yahoo page is for the whole, 200 years probably, if the company exists for 200 years. But then, last week we said beta changes from this period to this period, and
We need to focus on certain people.
yeah, if you can. I mean, it's part of 2 minutes of calculation, because you first download all the returns, put them next to S&P one by one if you want, or you don't even have to. I'll just show you how to do that. It's just a graph, and it's the slope of the graph. Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, but I think it's good for you if you practice. The more you practice rather than read the theory, the more you realize is, the power of all these finance things that you're studying. Okay, returns. So we take log returns, yeah? Log returns. And do this for LMT as well. It's not copying the formula for some reason. Yeah. Now, all I need now is to put this in a graph. So, insert, scatter, select data. This appears to be different from it's hiding my thing. Different from the proper word. So should I create series? Yeah. And x values. So what is into the x values here? What do we put in the x values, guys? X axis. S&P, because it's the response of the stock should be dependent variable, while S&P is the independent variable. Yeah. Have you done regression before?
Yeah.
That's the same principle. So highlight S&P as the independent variable, the factor that affects. Why is not showing? Okay, do something else. And y-axis is this thing, the company returns. And okay, let's see. Oh. Right, we have, what do we have here is interesting. What's this? Let's move it into a new worksheet. Didn't move it for some reason. Move the chart to new sheet. Done. Visible, isn't it? In some way. Okay, so what kind of correlation can you see here with the stock, with the stock market returns? It's positive, isn't it? If you fit a trend, add trend line, linear, because beta is linear, and display equation on chart, that should be enough. And we have this tiny equation which I'll have to increase now in size. So if market increases, so let's put the proper name here, give it the right name. So this is basically S&P 500, yeah? And this is LMT returns. Shh, guys. And the beta is, what is beta here on this equation? Which one is beta?
What is the 0.5826?
It's multiplying into this factor here, whatever it is, yeah?
Multiplied by 500?
Yeah, it's multiplied by S&P 500, yeah. Yeah. Which one is beta? Is it the one 0.012 or is it the 0.58?
I think it's the 0.5.
Why?
It makes more sense.
Okay, explain why.
I'm not sure what is the S&P 500.
Yeah, what is it? I mean, I've been explaining it since, 10 minutes now.
I know the S&P 500 is an index.
Yep.
For stocks, but I mean the 0.5.
It's an equation for this trend line here. It's describing the relationship between S&P 500 and LMT, isn't it? LMT being the Lockheed Martin.
The S&P 500, what is it? It's the beta of the S&P 500? Or is it?
It's always one, isn't it? S&P 500 is a market stock, market index, so it's always
So
one.
0.5826 times 1?
Is the beta of LMT. LMT is the stock. Lockheed Martin, the Air Force company, airlines company, the air manufacturer of the jet. Or engines as well. So basically what we did here is, if you notice that you have x-axis showing the returns from S&P 500 for a period, and y-axis showing the returns for Lockheed Martin, and now the dots here are just returns corresponding each other, for each of the axes here, and it shows us the correlation between these two stocks, or index and the stock. And when we fit this line, it just tells us that it's a, upward sloping line, shows that the beta must be positive. There's a positive correlation between them. And when we looked at the equation, it tells us that the beta of Lockheed Martin during the period 2014 and 2016 was 0.58, less than the market. Yeah, sensitivity is lower, basically not much risky during that period. Yeah, and that is the example of how you calculate the beta. That's it. I just asked that. It's just you were listening. So
you want us to do one table with all the returns and calculate everything else, and then do separate sheets with every beta?
If you want, what you can do is, the best way is to organize it this way. I liked the way they did last time. I mean, yesterday I looked at groups. One group emailed me their work. Stocks. All the stocks were A, B, C, D on this column, basically. First column would contain all the stocks, all the returns of the first company. Second column, third, it goes on to up to 30. Basically, they already done returns for all 30 companies. And then separately, market return. So you create these graphs for each one separately. Take the first one, regress it on the stock S&P 500, record the slope. Second one, basically do one by one, but within the same sheet. It doesn't take long.
Also, you don't want us to show you the charts?
No, we don't need. What you can do is, another way of doing it is very simple. If you have huge amount of work, is just type slope, yeah, and it says known y's. What is the y here? LMT. So highlight LMT. If it's comma, do comma. Is it comma?
Yeah. So it's, yeah.
Mine putting is double comma. You see double comma, and then highlight the x-axis.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's fine. It's Excel doing the crazy thing probably.
Yeah,
So it's showing us some. So let's change it to decimal place. How do you do that? Yeah. So you see, that's the same slope as this one. I mean, if you want, you just put them in a nice table. Say this is LMT. Next one, Boeing, for example. Yeah. And do the slope. Highlight, for example, again, slope, stock market, goes on. The graph one is for the intuition. Because you don't. No, it's just intuition. Yeah. I'm just saying, easy way is to record the slopes.
So the slope is the beta.
Yeah.
Don't you have to add the 0.012?
Because that one is the total effect. If you include this, it becomes a total effect on the. Doesn't mean anything in economics. Slope, we ignore slopes. Do you remember in economics? Have you done the regression analysis? Yeah, slope is meaningful or not? Is it meaningful? Slope. This constant. What is the role of constant in a regression analysis? It doesn't have any meaning in there. It's a statistical artifact, yeah?
It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the cost equation, for example.
Cost equation.
Yeah, it depends what kind of regression analysis.
Okay.
Depends on the context.
Okay.
So if you talk about output, for example, it's something. If you're talking about like cost of something, cost of investment is something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but slope is usually, it basically means when S&P is 0, when the return is 0, LMT return will be this much. Yeah? But S&P is not 0 usually. In practice, you don't usually interpret the results. So the slope doesn't play important role in the economic sciences. It does in statistics though. It probably does. I mean, in economics, it basically is the slope is when this line crosses here, right? This is the point. That's what it is in statistics and mathematics. It's that the point where x-axis crosses the y-axis, yeah? That's it. But in economics, there is no meaning for this one. For example, when S&P is 0, LMT's return should be 0.012. Usually S&P doesn't. I mean, it's theoretically yes, it may have zero return, but doesn't usually for a long time have a zero return, does it? And regression analysis contains so many data points, and it turns out if S&P is zero, that implies there is no return from S&P from that period of time. So yeah, in statistics, mathematics, you can have some meaning for it, like a slope when it crosses, but in economics, we don't usually use them. And slope usually could actually be zero as well or negative as well. So we can always
So
ignore.
you don't use the constant.
No, never use the constant.
If we add them, if we add 0.012 to the other one, what do we get?
You mean 0.58?
If we add the two numbers.
It's a total return,
1%.
basically. Total return, yeah. It depends what context you're looking at. But in this case, does it make sense, total return? It doesn't. To me, it doesn't look like anything. For example, give S&P 1. Yeah, give S&P 1. The return then 0.58 plus 0.012. And I don't know how to interpret that though. And I haven't seen a study interpreting slope alongside the constant and adding them up. So this is the beta here. Beta here is the one thing that you want to take. This thing here, have you studied econometrics?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Do you know the role of slope?
Okay, isn't this the intercept?
Yeah, it's intercept. I just explained, yeah. It's the intercept right here. In mathematics, it makes sense to have intercept.
So slope
But
and intercept is the same.
slope, no, not the slope. Intercept is this one. Right here is intercept. But slope is the slope of this line, isn't it?
So
The
it's the whole equation.
You mean line? Whole line. Okay, let's do this. Very quickly, guys. I think you may have forgotten it in... This point here is 0.012. And this is S&P. This is LMP. Right? This point here is when S&P 500 is equal to 0. In that case, LMP's return, average return during that period was this much.
So this is called the intercept, not the slope.
That's the intercept, yeah. But when you calculate beta, you need the intercept there because it absorbs the other effects in the market. Yeah, if you exclude the intercept, the beta will be biased. Have you heard about unbiased estimator of relationship in econometrics? So beta should be included. So in econometrics, for example, you have this case where the beta 1 plus beta 2 x2 plus ui, right? You have this sort of theoretical relationship between y and x. And beta is always there to account for the effects that are not controlled by x or not exerted by x alone. Because this thing, the LMT return, is affected by not only market, but also other factors. For example, inflation rate, yeah? Inflation rate. GDP growth during that 2 years. Government policies, unemployment rate, tax. We are not including all of them there. We are only including one x, yeah? You could include x1, x2, x3, x2 to account for all of these, yeah? Since we are not including them all, if we also remove them, the beta would be completely different number. It's basically absorbing all the confounding effects into it. You know, the beta is basically now capturing the effect of market on... Stop? Are you familiar with econometrics, guys? Are you sure? No. Just for now, take the slope. It goes into much more detail. But I have videos, by the way. I teach econometrics, and I have a bunch of videos, 16 videos on what beta is, if you want. Watch them.
But LMT could be still growing even if the S&P 500 was 0 because of external
Yeah,
growth
let's
from
say,
other-
yeah, let's say return on how can I format, yeah? Give it a style. Wait. Basically, beta measures rise over run, yeah? Rise over run. And Intercept measures very basically close to the y. Intercept for economists do not make sense. We do not usually use intercept as anything, meaning anything. It only measures the effect of something when the effect of the x-axis disappears. Yeah, imagine the effect. S&P is not there; it's 0. What's left is just this beta. Y is equal to beta, yeah? Which is actually capturing other effects, and we don't know what is this. Yeah. To separate beta out, we have to include these things into the equation, and so that each one of them have their own betas. So if I were to run this equation with LMT, beta 1 plus beta 2, what's this, S&P? Plus UI, this is one equation where I can capture the beta, simplest one. I could also run LMT equals beta 1 plus beta 2, S&P 500, plus I will now add beta 3 to capture the effect of GDP growth, plus I will add now beta 4, which then captures the inflation rate, effect of inflation on my returns when I trade LMT. I will now add beta 5. What's the next thing that usually affects experts maybe? Plus, I may add, for example, some dummy variable which captures the, some CEO news, announcements. So beta 5 will, beta 6 will capture that, and goes on. I mean, there's too many betas. The one we talked about in finance is this beta only. And this beta is useless. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I try to say, but for some reason, it's because very level of econometrics class we have maybe difficult. But is this clear now? We always look at the slope. The beta is the slope that measures the effect of S&P on LMT. Yeah, sensitivity of returns of LMT to the market return is measured by the first beta.
That basically is how elastic it is, right? Like how elastic it is.
Yeah, it should take log, yeah, it's elasticity. If it's logarithm of returns, yeah, but log you cannot take returns on negative. So, however, it's actually logarithm. I did take log, so it's elasticity. So 1% increase in the market return leads to a 0.58% increase in the LMC return. That's very simple. Technical aspect of this thing, but I hope it's clear now why we don't use beta, because every time I add a new beta to the equation, this beta 1 shrinks. It loses its value because this contains all the effects that I didn't include in the original equation. Now as I add more betas, this beta becomes smaller and smaller because this was capturing the effects of other things that I didn't include. And this obviously changes as well slightly, but not much. And this error, UI, does the same thing. It contains all the variables that I didn't include in the original equation. Yeah? Holding everything as constant means you just don't include in errors. Any questions, guys? It's a big digression, but I hope it just clears something. Yes, Daniela? Because you are interested in. I don't know if it was clear at all. So you don't have to draw the graph. Graph is only for intuition. It's basically we are measuring the correlation, association between two variables. But important one is the beta of the stock, response of individual stock to the market returns. Which year do you have your econometrics? When do you have usually? You didn't even have, okay.
Yeah, first you need to do probability and statistics too.
Okay, there you study this, yeah.
And then you do, it's a $5,000 course.
Yeah, it's level 5.
Level 5.
Level 5 is second year, semester, third year, isn't it? Semester 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Applied, isn't it?
No, there are
Yeah,
Two econometrics. Okay. One should be theoretical at least to explain you this, meaning of these things. Because you cannot simply just put data on there and y is this and x is this. You need to understand where the betas are capturing. They capture different effects from different variables. and slope usually for economists do not make sense. Just as I explained, it's actually capturing returns, effect on the returns of other variables that I didn't include in this case. And if I include them, the beta shrinks, the beta 1 shrinks. But we need beta 2 only in this case. London Stock Exchange calculates them, computes them. The ones that you see on the Yahoo Finance for UK is from London Stock Exchange. The one you see for US companies, I think, is from S&P 500. New York Stock Exchange. The brokerage companies, they update them. It would be good if you calculate, otherwise you can use the available beta already. It's just practice for you. I included it. It's not a big drain of your energy, is it, Jad? You're saying yes, but it's not. Okay.
It's good.
Yeah. Let me do this.